Welcome to She Trusts Herself, the podcast for women who are learning to trust themselves, honor their inner voice, and choose themselves without guilt. I'm your host, Tashleem, author, guest speaker, and certified human design reader. Together, we'll explore overcoming self-doubt, building deep self-trust, personal growth, and stepping into the next version of yourself with confidence. Welcome back to another episode. Today, we're going to be talking about identity. If you've realized that you've built a life that doesn't feel like yours, and if you've woken up one morning and thought, is this it? Just know that you're not alone. Some people might say that in a good way, like they've reached the mountain peak. But in this episode, we're talking about when it doesn't feel good, when you ask yourself that question, when everything looks fine from the outside looking in, but something internally feels off. Between the ages of 0 and 7, we are, for want of a better word, sponges. We absorb everything. We're products of our environment, the places we're in, the people around us, and the behaviors that we witness and observe other people exhibiting. We look to others to understand how we should act, what's acceptable, what gets approved, and what doesn't. We're taught right from wrong. We learn boundaries and the consequences of crossing them. We also learn which emotions are okay to express and which ones aren't. But it doesn't stop there. Life keeps going, and everything after that continues to shape us, just on a more conscious level. There will be beliefs that you carry that you don't even remember where they came from. And others you'll be able to trace back to a very specific moment. Family, culture, environment, lived experiences. Depending on how you feel, it could also include past versions of yourself. All of it plays a role in how you've been conditioned to move through the world. And what I like to refer to is being the person the world told you who you should be rather than who you are. And that's where the identity crisis part comes in, because there might be a day where you wake up and think, this doesn't feel like me. Let's have a look at some signs that maybe you're living out of alignment. If we look at it through the lens of human design for a moment, each of us has what's known as a not self theme. I like to think of this as your emotional red flag. This is how I explain it to my clients. It's the feeling that shows up when something isn't working, when something is out of alignment and just doesn't feel right, and you can't necessarily put your finger on it. It's sometimes more like an instinctual inner knowing and feeling where you're just like, there's just something about this. I don't know how to express or articulate it, but it just doesn't feel right for me. For all of us, it shows up as one of the following 4 emotions: anger, frustration, bitterness, or disappointment. And for some of us, it's a mix of anger and frustration. Sometimes it's really loud and hard to ignore and suppress, and other times it's more subtle. It's just like a quick feeling that passes. It matters when you feel this, because these emotions and your emotional red flag often show up when you're saying yes, when you actually want to say no, or when you're saying no but you'd rather say yes. You're trying to fit into something that doesn't feel right. You're performing instead of being. You're living according to expectations that aren't actually yours. And it happens when you think you're being who you should be instead of who you actually are. So a great example of this is when you're doing all the things that you think you should be doing. You're going through the motion and you're ticking off the list of life goals that society or your culture have given you. You're ticking them off, and to everyone else, they're like, wow, you're doing amazing. Like, this is so good. You're achieving all of the things. But there's something inside of you that just goes, this isn't it. Like, I'm doing all of these things, but internally I feel unfulfilled and not satisfied. That's where you're living out of alignment, because you're doing things that look good to other people but don't actually fulfill you. That's why identity crises in your 20s, 30s, 40s, etc. are normal. And we're going to be focusing specifically on identity crises in your 30s. So your 20s are often about freedom. You've gained independence, you're figuring things out, you're trying things. Society's like, yeah, like your 20s are for fun and experiencing life and doing all of the things. So you're doing that. You're trying to be someone and figure out who you are. And then your 30s arrive, and sometimes it's almost as if you blink and all of a sudden you were once 20 and then you wake up and you're 30. All of that free-spiritedness and zest for life that you had, all of a sudden society goes, okay, that was for your 20s. Now it's time for you to be a serious adult. That's where it starts to feel quite heavy and like there's a lot of pressure for you to figure out
who you are and what you want to do with your life. Suddenly the question shifts from what can I do to is this actually what I want? You might start asking yourself questions like, did I waste my 20s? Should I be further ahead? Why does everyone else seem like they're living a better life than me, in the sense that they know exactly who they are, what they're doing, and where their life is going? And maybe you're going through something at the moment where you are taking it day by day because you just don't have a plan. The plan that you had got thrown out the window, and now you're back to what feels like square one, and you're trying to figure it all out. And then you still get that external pressure from other people being like, oh, are you in a relationship? Are you getting engaged soon? Are you getting married? Are you having kids? What about your career? Is this really what you want to do for the rest of your life? And all of those questions just build pressure, and it feels like you don't have any space to breathe, and you've just got to figure everything out immediately, even though you don't have answers to any of these questions at times. The truth is, everyone in their 30s is living a completely different reality. Some are deep in the trenches of family life, some are starting over, some are thriving in their careers, others are facing challenge after challenge. From the outside, it can look like everyone has it all figured out and together. But the thing is, we're only ever seeing a version of their life that's what they choose to share or what they feel comfortable showing, whether it's in conversation, on social media, or in real life. And from what I've observed, some people are incredibly good at holding it all together for a public appearance sake, when behind closed doors, everything is kind of falling apart. And that's not to say that people don't have their lives together, because there are some people out there that are born knowing exactly what they want to do and they just go for it. But the thing is, it's like, if you think about yourself too, you'll have people that go, how are you going? And there'll be people that you will give an honest response to, and then other people you'll just be saying, yeah, I'm good, how are you? While you've got 20 things in your mind that you're thinking, oh, I've got to fix this and I've got to do that. Not everyone knows your full story, nor do you know theirs. And when we're comparing ourselves to other people, we're comparing however many years of lived experience and truth we have personally experienced against snippets of their life and what they've chosen to share. So it's never a fair comparison. So you're just putting pressure on yourself unnecessarily. And perhaps the person that you're putting up on a pedestal and thinking is the golden standard, in reality, their life might be falling apart behind closed doors. Of course, we hope that that's not the case, but you really just don't know. So that comparison and all of that extra pressure may be for nothing, because you could just be holding yourself to a false standard and comparing yourself to something that isn't actually real. So how can we look at this differently? We can look at it as, you're not lost. You're just uncovering and figuring out who you are. And each of us has our own life path and journey to go on. And I know that may seem a little bit out there, but just follow along with me for a moment and I promise it'll make sense. So for some people, things feel super clear early on. It's like they're born knowing exactly what they want to do. They know what they're here to achieve, be, and do. You'll have others where life is more complex. There's trial and error, there's plot twists, there's pivots, there's chapters that need to be lived and make more sense when you're looking back and connecting the dots. And while you're going through it, you're just like, I have no idea why I'm here or how I actually got here. But once you get through the whole process and you're like, oh, okay, it makes sense. There will be other people where they've got what's known as a 3 life stage process from ages roughly 0 to 30. That's where they're in trial and error. So they're living life and experiencing things and figuring it out. And then between the ages of roughly like 30 and 50, that's where they start to make sense of all of the things that they've gone through, all of those lived experiences. And then that's their transformational phase, where they start to do the healing and making sense of what they've been through. And then later on in life is when they step into the role model, where others look to them for wisdom and sage advice. If you're someone that does have that life journey and you're comparing yourself to someone that's meant to know exactly who they are from the moment they were born, then you're never going to feel like you're doing the right thing. And it's simply because you're trying to build a life around something that's not meant for you, rather than experiencing and acknowledging the personal journey that you're going on. I am someone that learns through lived experiences. So someone could tell me, okay, if you do this, this will be the outcome. There'll definitely be times in my life where I go, oh, I hear what you're saying, but I just want to figure it out for myself, because that's the way that I learn. I am here to figure it out as I go, and it'll make sense as I'm moving through life. This is something that human design can show you too. It doesn't mean that it's a crystal ball where it's going to predict the rest of your life or anything like that. It says, hey, this is kind of how you're meant to navigate your way through life. And it helps take some of that pressure off. When I heard that, it was at a time where I was trying to figure out exactly who I was and what my life purpose was. So I went through an identity crisis when I was 25, my quarter life crisis, as I like to call it. And hearing this just felt like a huge weight off my shoulders, because instead of forcing and trying to figure out everything and create like a 10, 15, 20-year plan, I went, okay, cool. I can literally just be myself, figure out who I am, follow the things that light me up, and it's going to make sense in the end. And that has been such a freeing experience for me. And maybe that's something that will help you. If you are in a phase where things feel really uncertain and you feel a lot of pressure to figure it out, just take a deep breath and just know that you're not lost, you're not behind, you're just uncovering and figuring out who you are and what the next step is. So it's that process of like separating yourself from who you actually are at your core to who everyone has told you to be. We can ask ourselves questions. What did I choose versus what did I inherit? Take a moment and maybe journal on it to have a look at different areas of your life. I'm talking career, relationships, habits, belief, maybe business, health and wellness. And just ask yourself, did you actually choose this, or did you fall into it in the sense of, did someone say, hey, you should do this, and you thought, great idea, let's do that. Then we can have a look at the roles that you play versus who you are at your core, your essence. So I want you to write down all of the roles that you play. So that includes your job title, if you're in a relationship, like if you're a partner, friend, daughter, if you're a business owner, if you're a mom, a dog mom, cat mom, whatever it is, all of those roles, just write them down for me. And then have a look at that list and go, who am I without these roles? What actually feels true to me underneath all of that? Because we tend to take on all of these roles, and sometimes we feel like we're kind of born into them. And we take that on as our identity. But the thing is, the role doesn't define us. The next step is to then start noticing your emotional red flags. So pay attention to when you feel frustrated, bitter, angry, or disappointed. Other emotions that aren't tied directly to your human design emotional red flag also include feeling resentful, drained, disconnected, or just even like apathetic, where you're just completely indifferent to everything. Instead of pushing down these feelings and ignoring it, just start asking yourself, like, what is this trying to tell me? What is it about this situation, this place, this person, this environment that's making me feel this way? And just get curious about it. It's not about judging yourself or the people that are involved. It could literally just be like, okay, this is my body trying to tell me it needs a change, and that's okay. Personal example, I get to a point in jobs, typically it's like 2 to 3 years in, where I start to feel a little bit restless, bored, and sometimes frustrated because I am ready to move on to the next thing. And I used to really try and talk myself out of these feelings when I noticed them, because I thought, oh no, it's fine. This is a good job. I enjoy the people that I work with and things like that. But I started to realize that, one, there was a pattern there when I looked back, and two, I'm designed to pivot. It's not about learning all of the things, is reaching that point and going, okay, I feel like I'm ready for the next challenge, and being okay with that. So just paying attention to what your body and emotions are telling you can really help as well, because we don't want to be sitting in those emotions for days, months, years on end. It's not a great feeling to be in, especially when you can do something about it. Some extra reflection prompts for you. Where in life are you performing instead of being? Or where are you doing instead of being? What are the things that you're doing that you think you should be doing rather than what you want to be doing? Where are you trying to force things instead of letting them just unfold? What feels true for you right now? Not 5 years ago. What lights you up? What do you enjoy? What are your passions? What are your hobbies? What people, places, experiences you really enjoy and light you up and just make you enjoy life rather than feel like you're going through the motions? This one can be quite confronting, so you might want to sit with it for a little bit. But what parts of yourself have you outgrown but you're still holding on to? We sometimes hold on to an outdated version of ourselves because we're either afraid of what other people will think of us if we do make a change, or we don't want to burst other people's perceptions of us, or we are scared of what the unknown looks and feels like. But that's how we expand our comfort zone, and that will become the new normal when you're brave enough to take that step and see what's on the other side. Your identity isn't something that you find once and hold on to forever. It's constantly evolving and growing as you grow and evolve yourself as a person. It's something that you create, something that you refine, something that you can come back to. It's more than just the roles that you play and the perceptions other people hold of you. It's your core essence and who you are. If you're questioning that and who you are as a person, that's not actually a problem. So many of us go through that. I actually feel the earlier that you start to ask yourself those questions, the better off you are, because it takes you out of autopilot and you hop back into the driver's seat. I don't wake up when I'm 60, 70 or 80 years old and go, oh, I wish I had followed my dreams and my passions, because that would be so heartbreaking. And I don't want that for you. I want you to start living a life that you create as soon as possible. This is where human design really helped me embody and understand those aspects of myself, the ones that I used to suppress and push down because I thought, oh, other people told me I need to do X, Y, and Z, so I'm just gonna abandon who I am and what I feel like is the right decision because they're telling me something different. And if that's something that you would like to explore more of, I offer one-on-one readings, and I've got the booking link in the episode notes below. You can also look at joining my 8-week program that's designed for high-achieving eldest daughters, and we start on May 11. That link is also included in the show notes below.